Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Bruce here on a rather overcast and slightly rainy February afternoon here in London. I haven't got any special reason for doing my posting today apart from the fact that I've made a few purchases over the last couple of months, and so I thought I'd bring you up to date on what I've got. Various bits, I haven't sorted any of it out. Some of it I will keep, some of it I might move on. I'll see, give it all a demo. I bought quite a few 45s a few weeks ago in a charity shop near here, and I've been buying a few bits in shops, over the internet, etc, etc. So it's a real mixed bag today. Anyway, let's get started, see what I've got. I'll put my glasses on because I'll have to read some labels just to check on some of this stuff and give you more information. Sorry if I keep ducking out, but I've got my singles at my feet. Okay, so let's get started. I've got quite a pile here, as you might be able to already see. First off is this Lost Patrol and Cutty Sark there. I hope you can see the label there. It's an old, I'm sure it's an original Columbia. Quite a tatty sleeve, the old company sleeve. And it's the John Barry 7 with orchestra from about 1962, I think it says. They're in variable condition. This one's okay, it's had a bit of play, but you know, it's perfectly adequate. Next up, I've got something quite exciting. It's a Chico Hamilton EP. There we are. This is an original. I cleaned some of them on my wonderful cleaning machine, so they look a bit more sparkly than they did. This has got the old triangular Vogue. I hope you can see that label there. The 3-prong, I think they sometimes call that. And this has various people on it, and it's a trio down to a duo. I think the last one he just plays drums on with a George Duvivier on bass. These are all from 1955. I guess they were all released on, I'm not sure, perhaps someone can tell me in America what this would have been released on. Maybe Contemporary or something like that. Pacific Jazz, possibly, not sure. But anyway, that's a nice one. This is even nicer, a really weird Chico quintet, isn't it? Yes, it is, with the great Eric Dolphy on this one, playing, I think, alto sax and flute, I think. This is on the Warner Brothers label. There we are, that lovely sort of fruity coloured thing. And he even sings on this, Chico Hamilton. As some of you may know, he's a very good jazz drummer, but he has a go at singing, and he ain't bad. He ain't bad at all. So that's an interesting one as well. Most of the numbers I don't know. I think he sings She's Funny that way on there. Next up, we got Eartha Kitt. It's an early stereo, this one, with Shorty Rogers and his Giants. She's singing the blues on this one. Possibly the best Eartha Kitt stuff there is, I've got here, so you can see on the old RCA label. She does things like, what is she doing, St. Louis Blues on here, Hesitating Blues, etc. Really nice arrangements, bluesy, you know, and she could sing. It's not that novelty stuff at all, this. This is a really nice one. It's an old, there you are, 3-pronged stereophonic affair there, and she's singing entirely blues again here with yet again it's Shorty Rogers. Things like Yellow Dog Blues, Beale Street Blues, etc. It's all good stuff. Oh, this is an old record, actually. I've had this for years. I just cleaned it up the other day. This is an original. It's the Everly Brothers on the 3-pronged, because I had a massive cleaning session the other day. There you can see, that's all I have to do is Dream, and it's Claudette on, I think it's a double A side. Lovely stuff. Oh, this is another one I've had for some while, but it was lying around and I cleaned this up as well. That's the picture sleeve of Beat the Clock. I remember that one. Sparks, nice record, very nice stuff. And another one, don't know where I got this. I've had this a while. but it's the Bowie and Bing Crosby. It was a sort of it wasn't a reissue, but it was after the fact. I think it was on his TV special or something, 77. I think he died shortly thereafter, Bing Crosby. This was released in 82 anyway, so that's a British press. Now onto some more of the stuff I got in charity shops. Sorry, I'm activating lights here as well with my feet. Yeah, got the Style Council there. That's an old 80s press there with that silver injection label. Is that what they call it? Shout to the top, isn't it? Yeah. And Ian Jury and his blockheads passed their best when they did this, I reckon. Drop it in the comments, you might disagree. Spasticus Autisticus, I remember it at the time. Now onto what I consider the most interesting stuff I bought concerning the 45s. A whole load. There was a shed load of Buddy Holly. I think these are all second presses because they don't have the 3-prong, but they are 4-prong. There we are. I won't take them all out, but you can see there we've got Every Day. Marvellous song, and Peggy Sue, classic stuff. This is What to Do, and Oh Yeah, that's that one. Learning the Game, and It Makes It Tough. I've only played these once. I really haven't had time. There are so many of them. Rave On, fantastic song, and Take Your Time. I hope you can see these labels. They're the old coral label. We've got An Empty Cup, and You've Got Love. I'm sure Madam Sin, if he's watching, would be interested in this stuff. Reminiscing, and Wait Till the Sun Shines Nelly. There. We've got Wishing and Because I Love You. There. I hope the focus is coping with this. We got Peggy Sue Got Married, and Crying, Waiting, Hoping. And lastly from Buddy, we've got Baby I Don't Care, the old wonderful Lieber and Stoller cover, and Valley of Tears. There we are. So yeah, those are my Buddy Hollies. There was so much stuff. You may be interested to see these old sleeves they were in, very tatty, old, and sort of, scuffed up. And it says here, records cannot be exchanged once they have left these premises. So that's obviously from an old record store. There are many. I won't sift through them all, but there we are. There's lots of these old brown paper sleeves they came in. This one, which I didn't even realise I scooped up. I just put a whole load aside and thought, look, there's too much to sort through. Sorry, I got dust all over me. These were so dusty. This is the old Winchester Cathedral vaudeville, new vaudeville band. We got a bit of Anthony Newley. Pop Goes the Weasel. There we are. On Decca from about 1961. I'm sure Bowie was a fan. I write this. Well, this isn't particularly interesting. It's not in great nick. You can see the cover has been scuffed terribly. It's that old Marshall Hayne Coming Home. Didn't know this was a single. It's not in great. It's okay. It needs a clean. It's very dusty. Different point, and Coming Home. They of course had the big hit with Dancing in the City. We got a bit of Jilted John. Haven't even had a time to sort out a spider for him, but there we are. From 1978. We got this, Crazy Otto, whoever he may be. Perhaps some of you out there know Alley Cat and Cheerio Choo Choo. I just like the sleeve. Lovely old company sleeve. Polydor, German label, I believe, from 1920s, weren't they? Obviously, this is a 45. This is 60s, probably. It says here 62. So it's sort of dawn of the Beatles time. We've got Bits and Pieces by the Dave Clark 5 there on Columbia. There we are. Yep, from 64. And last leave of the singles, we've got You Need Love and A Fool's Paradise. I think Shane Fenton later on reinvigorated his career and reinvented himself as... I keep doing these lights, sorry. Let's move all this stuff. I've got so much stuff in the way. Yeah, I think Shane Fenton was Alvin Stardust in some later incarnation, but anyway, not really my kind of thing. Let me just move these singles out of my feet because there's so much stuff here. There we are. Wow. A couple of classical bits now that I bought actually last year. Didn't realise I had them. I cleaned them up again. This one here, it's Sir Michael Tippett on Argo. These are not really very collectible records, but they're quite interesting because you can see that they are these test pressings, these kind of pink label test pressings. So there we are. They're quite interesting. I think this one's from around the early 70s, probably 71, 72. And there's also an Eric Satie here. There we are. Who's this played by? The Orchestra of Radio Luxembourg. I like the Picasso cover on that one. It's another, although it's Vox label, you can see it's another. I'll get it out and put it up there. Perhaps you want to have a closer look at it there. That's that nice old pink label test pressing. So yeah, those were definitely interesting finds. Just the other day I managed to pick this up and I got a good price for it. It's Shoot Out of the Fantasy Factory. I think it was the only studio album I was missing by traffic. I got a good price on it, I have to say. There it is. It's on the old Island, what do they call that, the white palm tree label, I think they describe that as. It's a British pressing. It's in really lovely condition. Unfortunately, there's something missing, and that's the inner. It was originally issued with a lovely company inner. It has this strange sort of geometric square cube 3D design on it. Perhaps someone out there in the vinyl community would send me a spare. That would be nice, but anyway, I'm a bit of a completist. I'll see if I can source one elsewhere. This was irresistible. I got this in a charity shop around the corner from literally stone's throw from where I live. Ennio Morricone, anything by him I'll have. I love soundtracks anyway. This is the film The Mission, from about 86 I believe, and this is it's actually surprising. It was on Virgin. I don't know if Virgin Records did many soundtrack releases. I don't seem to recall them doing many, but yeah, I think I paid £1 for that, so pretty irresistible. It's in really nice shape as well. Let's keep going. I got this as well. I think I may have paid about £2 for this. Not my kind of bag at all, but it was in very, very nice shape. Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. There we are. I think this was issued on vinyl in 91, but there weren't many pressed, and I don't think it was ever reissued, so it's kind of sought after in some quarters. In a charity shop again, last week I bought this by Dave Brubeck Quartet. This is an early iteration of the quartet. This is in nice shape. It's an old Fontana mono. It's recorded live. Yeah, Jazz goes to junior college. I don't know if he ever went to senior college, but anyway. And it's got the classic lineup on here. Minus, I think, Eugene Wright, the bass player, is here. It's Norman Bates. Didn't he used to run them? No, he wasn't the guy in the motel. Nah, can't be. Anyway, yeah, and it's got Joe Morello on drums and Paul Desmond on alto sax. Moving on, I picked up this in the same shop, I believe, or the shop next door. This was £1. It's obviously Igor Stravinsky. Interesting with this hi-fi stereo, early stereo Philips label. These I know these Plum label Phillips records are very, you know, in quite high demand by classical collectors. There we are. It's got a little bit of damage there, but yeah, who cares? On the flip back. This is something I inherited from a friend of mine who inherited this from a dear old friend of his who I believe died last year at the age of 104. But this record isn't 104 years old. Unfortunately, it had been left out. It's Jean-Michel Jarre, the you know, the synth composer. Oxygen was his most famous, but this was Equinox, the follow-up, I think in about 1977 or 78. I rather like the cover. It's quite nice background music, but it doesn't really grab me. Oh, I got this again in a local charity shop, maybe just before Christmas. I've never owned an Elvis Costello record. Tell a lie, I've got a compilation somewhere, but never had a studio album. I wasn't a great fan at the time. I always liked watching The Detectives. I remember hearing that on John Peel, you know, 45 years ago or whatever, and I really liked it. You know, it's really atmospheric. I love the that reverby Jazzmaster guitar on there. But yeah, this is quite nice. I like Accidents Will Happen. I'll have to give it another listen. It's not in great shape. It's all right. Here's an embarrassment. You know, is this a what's the word? A guilty pleasure? Maybe it is. I don't know. I got Olivia Newton-John First Impressions. It's just a comp. It's got this textured sleeve. It's on EMI. It's of no particular import, as they say, but it's got If Not For You on there, so I thought I'd pick that up. And my daughter likes Take Me Home Country Roads, so why not? Here's a weird one coming up, nearly finished. This I'd never heard of. I paid £2 for it from a charity shop. It's got some interesting price stickers on there. I hope the focus can show you those. Ray Russell Quartet, Dragon Hill. He's a guitarist. This is, as it says, a quartet. Kind of slightly out there, jazz rock, jazz fusion, post-bop, don't know what you'd call it. It's on this Jazz Realm label, which I think was a reissue label, but this was only issued, as far as I know, on this label. And I think it's become quite collectible. And you've got people like Harry Beckett, the trumpet player, and Lynn Dobson on tenor sax that I knew of. So yeah, I thought I'd get that. I'll give it another listen, see what I make of it. Coming to the end now. The last album I'm going to show, I actually bought online and I had a lot of issues with. I had to return 2 copies of it because just poor pressings. You know, sorry to say, but I think modern vinyl, the quality control's fallen through the floor pretty much. You know, I know they make a lot of it on the vinyl community, so these MoFi pressings, etc. But you know, it is a very what's the word? Variable product that you're buying, I'm afraid. The music's good though. An unusual purchase for me. This Nino Ferrer, I think his name's pronounced. He was a sort of French, you know, chanteur, kind of soft rock, singer-songwriter, kind of in the same vein as someone like Serge Gainsbourg, or Serge Gainsbourg, as people mispronounce him here in England. But he didn't have any hits here at all, Ferrer. But this album, Nina and Radia, being the lady to his left, yeah, they produced this album together. I think she was an American model, and she sings not really backing vocals. They don't even harmonise. She just sings with him. So you get this contrasting, you know, these contrasting voices. It's kind of laid back stuff. He had a hit, I believe, with this song Le Sud, meaning South. It's on here the first track in English, South, and then they finish off with Le Sud. I've got to say, in English, it's better. Not the language, but it's just it is a superior version. And he thought so himself, but he had a hit reluctantly with it in France. I think that he sold out. He had a very sad end, I'm afraid, in the late 90s. You can look him up, read about what happened. But and he didn't really, I think, ever repeat the trick on this one. He had quite a long career. He was going in the 60s. He was all a bit derivative, nothing outstanding until he recorded this. I don't know how to pigeonhole it, but it's very, as I say, it's quite chilled singer-songwriter stuff. Quite a lot of piano in there as well. It's a good album. I don't know if it's a classic, but it's certainly fallen off most people's radars. And he's quite unknown, I think, here in UK. So, I'll give him a listen. Anyway, thank you very much. That's the end of my February posting. Do drop your comments down below, and I shall see you very shortly. See you then.